This is Beyond the Fold, where we talk about what matters most in modern business. I'm Lawrence Hitches, the GM of Studio Hawk, a globally renowned SEO agency. In each episode, I sit down with people shaping the future of marketing and business. We'll hear how they got started, the wins, the pivots, and the hard lessons learned along the way. So let's get into it. So I'm here with Rhyanna Cardillo, the acting head of eCommerce at the Aje Collective, handling digital strategy and conversion optimization for 3 domains.
Correct, yes.
Amazing. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Just enjoying the conversations I'm having with people and, really excited to get to know you a bit more and hear about what you're up to at Aje. So,
cool, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, awesome. So I'd love to hear about your start in the e-commerce world. To know that you've actually been named one of the top 50 people in e-commerce recently by Inside Retail. I think it was last year.
I actually really didn't expect to be named in that group of people, but it's such an amazing cohort of people within the e-com industry. So I feel really grateful to be part of it and felt really lucky that I was named as part of it last year. Yeah. My start, I actually started in the e-com industry a bit out of chance, a bit out of luck. I was working at Mecca all through university, absolutely loved it on the shop floor. And when I finished uni, I was given the opportunity to join the first cohort of their graduate program, which was seriously amazing. Loved every minute of it. And
Mecca are wonderful as a brand.
So wonderful. Have such high things to say about them. And I had such a great experience. And I guess as part of the program, you get to try lots of different departments. And my second department or my second rotation was in the e-commerce team. At the time, I actually was a little bit disappointed to get e-com because I was really gunning to join the buying team. But actually a few weeks in, I was like, this is the best thing that's ever happened. And I absolutely fell in love with e-com from there. I just really loved the pace of e-com. I loved the problem solving. I loved that you could see your results in almost a real-time setting. So anything you changed on the website, you could track and you could monitor and you could see if customers were interacting with it. And so that's been really amazing. And I guess from there, I've worked in a couple of different industries and gotten to see brands at different points of their growth journey, which is, I guess, where led me to where I am today at Aje.
Yeah. In that Mecca e-commerce experience that you had, was there a particular project or little thing that you tweaked that you were like, this is what unlocked the passion?
Yeah, they started me on search and the search tool of Mecca, and you can imagine there is thousands of searches on the Mecca website every day. So that was really cool getting to be in the data. I think I fell in love with data, and analyzing data from there. But I think one of the projects I remember really loving and getting to work on actually came out of the back of search, which was we were seeing all these searches for skin concerns on the website, and there was not really a way for customers to navigate or shop by their skin concern. So, for example, redness, dryness, rosacea. And so I remember saying to my team at the time, do you think that's something we could build into the site? We could offer products. We have such great education at Mecca, and we know exactly what to recommend to these customers. And because I'd come from working in store, I had all that education too. So I was able to just combine the two things. We started these blocks on site that allowed customers to shop by skin concern. So that was a really cool thing because I felt like I really contributed to something a little bit different on the site, and my store experience had sort of bolstered me, I guess, knowing what to recommend and knowing how I think a shopper would want to see it on site too. So that was an awesome project as a grad.
Yeah. So you're doing it as a grad. What year was that?
2019.
Yeah. And it seems like something like that would be a very standard idea to implement on a website by skincare. And back then it was kind of a revolutionary thing.
Yeah, I think, look, they probably thought of it. I'm sure they'd thought of it before me. I doubt that I was the first person to think of it, but I think
we should do this. That's all it took.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I just suggested it and then they gave me the freedom to do it, which was very great of them, to give me the opportunity as a grad too.
On a big website with, a lot of potential.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So jumping into now we are at an Aje.
Yep.
How did that transition come to be? You don't end up acting head of e-commerce for just out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think Aje has given me such a platform of growth, and I have actually been in a few different roles since I've been at Age. I think I've transitioned. This is my 4th role in 3 years, which sounds like a lot, but actually Age moves at quite a fast pace. I've worked on so many incredible things in the last 3 years of being at Age. I'm very grateful and lucky for that. But I think being able, because we move so quickly as a business, it's given me the legroom to grow and learn new skills, which is why I think I've been able to progress into different opportunities through the business. So when I joined, I was the junior e-com manager for Aje Athletica, which is obviously like the activewear arm of the Aje Collective. And then I progressed into an e-com manager role. And then last year I took on a digital project manager role. So I was working across sort of bigger projects within the digital space, but across all of our brands. And then, at the moment I'm on a mat leave cover. Our beautiful head of e-com, Alyssa, is on maternity leave. So I'm just covering while she's off, but it has given me such an opportunity to learn additional skills within the business. So I'm feel really like lucky to be part of it, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, and the fast growth of the organization, I mean, for someone like yourself jumping in as a junior e-com, to now in 3 or 4 years get to that level, that's a really good testament to the growth of the brand, but also their investment into people such as yourself to go, we're going to give you a go on this crazy new thing that we're doing.
Absolutely. And that is what Age is like. They really, I think everybody that works at Age is so talented and has so much expertise, but then the company itself just lends itself to growth and opportunity to progress. So really you couldn't ask for a better opportunity as somebody who wants to learn new things and try new things.
Yeah, growth and learning seem to be quite synonymous. It's something that we're quite passionate about too. It's
great.
Continuous growth and learning.
Yeah,
and it only comes through just dealing with more challenging things. What's a memorable part of the journey so far in terms of those projects that you've taken on, or the proud moments that you've had across Age?
I think last year my number one proud moment was we did a full site rebuild, which was an amazing achievement by everybody involved. It was the digital teams, it was the marketing teams. We essentially built the code from scratch again, and we redesigned the website, how we wanted it to look and feel, how we wanted our customer experience to be on site. And that was a huge project because we built, tested, launched the project all within 6 months, which is a huge feat when you're redesigning the entire code all the way from top to bottom. But it allowed us to really bring in new native functionality from Shopify. We were able to redesign from a visual perspective, which allowed like our marketing team shoots amazing, beautiful, like striking content every month. It allowed us to service that on the website without slowing down the website. I think this project, why it was such a wow moment for me is it was a great mix of like commercial, creative and technical goals all in one, all wrapped together. And we saw the impact of it from the minute we went live. So we saw conversion rate lift within weeks. We saw page speed, load times get so much faster, which was a much better experience for our customers. We saw customers navigating the site differently because they had different options to now, and they were able to find things quicker. I think we just cleaned everything up in a way that really elevated the site and really set ourselves up to scale the business in the coming, 5 years, depending on which direction Age want to go. So I feel really stoked with that project. And I think everybody involved, including our agency partners, everybody involved was really happy with it.
Yeah. So for e-commerce brands out there that are mulling over that website update, what do you think to say to them about doing that project, even within 6 months, is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
What's your advice to them?
I would say if you can do it, well, obviously look at the commercial benefits if it's going to make sense for your site, or can you just look at elements of the site and upgrade that? Previously to doing a site upgrade, we weren't sure if we were going to get that project over the line, just because it is a huge project, takes a lot of resources and a lot of time. And we were sort of looking at elements of the site that we could upgrade first. So looking at our product page and then maybe looking at our collection page, then our overall nav, different elements of the site. But I think for us, we felt there was so much opportunity just to do it all, wrap it in one project. We spent a long time with UX designers having sort of best-in-class functionality and best-in-class design, and I think it really paid off. So I think explore it, be open to the idea, but if it's not feasible, then maybe look at areas that you think can improve, like small bits of the site at a time, and work on each of those.
But it can be done with enough hard
100%.
work.
Yeah. We were all super dedicated. Like, we were balancing all of our other priorities on top, but absolutely. Yeah. I think it had huge impact for us and we're really proud of it.
Yeah. I'm sure it was relieving when you saw day after launch, conversions go up. It's just one thing you're aiming for.
Yeah, that was nerve-wracking. It was, we were like, are we going to ruin everything? Yeah. There's always a little bit of like, you're always a little bit scared with every project.
That's life, I think. Doing new things. What's your approach to the customer, the Aje customer? How did it play into the website rebuild, or how are you dealing with it now in 2025?
Yeah, I think with our customer, we obviously have multiple brands on site, and a lot of those customers do cross over. A lot of the customers are separated to the brand itself. So look, I think we tried to just fix customer pain points when we did our site. We tried to fix customer pain points that we had heard loads of feedback on, or pain points that we knew weren't best in class within the market. So we I guess, did everything we can to try and improve those sections of the site first and build that in alongside the UX designers and then our development agency to try and ensure that we were providing a really easy navigation through the site, that the right customers could find the right product on site, because, you know, we have very dedicated Athletica customers who are not Aje shoppers. So I wanted to make sure it was very easy for those customers to find the product that they wanted as soon as they landed on the site and didn't have to go digging, particularly because at a point in time we had the Aje Athletica brand on a separate domain, and those customers were used to shopping on a separate domain where the nav was totally dedicated to Aje Athletica. So we wanted to make sure we brought that over. And then in that time we introduced Aje Studio, which is a separate brand again, that was going to be targeting a separate customer. So we wanted to ensure that, you know, we had the right categories in the nav to service those new collections that we had. I think in terms of how we approach it, we're learning every day still. We've done a lot of research, customer research this year. So we're working hard to, I guess, fully understand every part of our customer journey, where any of the pain points are and where we can improve optimizations on site. So we've been doing things like customer surveys and really leaning into the data that we're collecting to try and make great optimizations on site.
Yeah. Is that a newer type of initiative that you're doing, or just more focused on it this year?
Yeah, I think a bit more focused on it. I think when we completed the site rebuild, that sort of laid the digital foundations for the brand, and we have such big digital growth goals within Aje over the next couple of years. So this is, I guess, a newer initiative. We've done it in the past, but maybe not for a while. So it's a newer initiative to collect, I guess, new verbatim from customers that we can actually put straight towards improvements on the site. There's a lot of focus on, now that we have the site in place and we're really happy with it, what are the small things we can tweak? Because you're always iterating once you've done a project. People change the way they like to shop. People change what they want to see on site. So we're just trying to collate all that information together and sort of what can we do to improve their journey.
Yeah. Are you seeing changes around, particularly in fashion right now, in terms of how people are shopping differently or the same? Or
yeah, I think a lot of people they want to see lo-fi content on the site. So how we bring that into the site. I mean, even myself this week was looking at buying a pair of shoes, and I really wanted to see it on somebody who wasn't a model.
Is that lo-fi content? Can you explain that just real quick?
Yeah, so just, I guess, content that's not shot from a campaign perspective or not shot using a model who's had retouching. Of course, every brand does that because they want to make the product looks
nice, as
exceptional as possible. But I think seeing it on somebody in natural light, on different body shapes, or can really be
doing
helpful.
Stuff that's actually normal.
And movement in the shot.
Yeah.
It can really be helpful at like quite a lot of points of the purchasing journey as well. I think in the research point as well is really helpful, because you kind of like go off the site and then you're like, oh, I want to see, you know, the Aje Pandora dress on somebody, and you might search that on TikTok. And then I think that same content, if it's elevated in the right way, particularly for Aje, if you bring that onto the product page, can be that sort of final piece of the puzzle for conversion because you can see it move, you can see what people look like in different settings and scenarios. So I definitely think people are a lot more reliant on that, and maybe customers are a lot more, they're willing to do a lot more research into the product. So they go off onto social channels to really look for people wearing it, maybe hauls of it. Like I think there's a lot more sort of they want to see peers and other people wearing it, and that is really affecting shopping. But it has been for a couple of years, but I think more so now than ever, really considered purchasing.
It's the pain points, it's the authenticity, how it looks, how it feels. It's like people want to reach out into the website and actually touch it before they actually go in store.
Exactly.
They're sitting at home on TikTok, doom scrolling.
But also maybe they can't get to a store because there's not one local to them.
Yeah.
And so...
Oh, so you're accessible to more customers by being more authentic in a weird...
Yeah, I think so. Because I think like if somebody who's not affiliated with the brand says, oh my God, this is the best dress I've ever tried, I'm way more likely to trust that, even though I can see on the website it's beautifully curated, it looks magical. But if someone's like, oh, this is amazing, it feels amazing, and then they try it on and they look great in it, I'm like, okay, well, I'm sold. I'll buy it.
You'll see a picture of them literally wearing it in front of you and go, I'm sold. I've researched it enough.
Exactly.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Any brands, globally that you're really inspired by at the moment, website-wise or, just around the world?
I think there's some brands homegrown that are doing a really good job at the moment. I think in terms of our sort of premium positioning within the market, we're looking at brands like Loewe for content. We were actually looking at them earlier this week in terms of how they merchandise their pages as well. They do such an amazing job in mixing content that they've shot, whether it's video or stills, in and amongst the sort of product merchandising. So I think the element that we've just spoken about where you want to see the product on somebody and you want to see how it looks, whilst it's not lo-fi content, having it on the collection page so that somebody doesn't have to click into the product page just gives them like a visual snapshot whether that item might be right for them. And I think it elevates the shopping experience. It feels more curated, like a store would be curated and merchandised. So we're taking inspiration from that, my team at the moment, and we're looking at ways we can, because we have such beautiful content ourselves that our marketing team shoot for us. So we're looking at ways we can elevate our site further with that content throughout all touch points of the journey, not just the home page and not just the product page, but how can we integrate it into our navigation and into our collection page?
Yeah.
And I feel like they're masters at it.
Yeah. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
So you're really taking that user journey more seriously. You've got the good foundation of a website, you've got the research backing it up, and you're making these like great experiments and tweaks.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how do you balance the strategic stuff, doing the iterations and the tweaks and looking at research with just the daily demands of running a very large scale e-commerce website and multiple of them as well?
Yeah, I do find it challenging. I think everybody does, but I think for me, the most important thing is trade. So keeping focus and keeping really close to our trade numbers is by far the most important. But of course, we have such a big growth objective for the next couple of years, and we have so many things we want to achieve. So we have to put, customizations into our day-to-day work, and we also have projects that we're working on all the time. I think one of the things that really is helpful for us is we have incredible agency partner relationships that we really try to cultivate all the time and try to stick close with. And in situations where your focus has to be trade, I think the best thing you can do is really rely on your agency partners in those times. They're the experts in their fields. They can help make decisions quicker and help guide you and what, choices you might make, but also they can keep things moving in the background on some of the projects or bigger actions you're undertaking whilst your focus might be elsewhere. So that's sort of one thing. I think also looking at how you can make your infrastructure work harder for you. So is there anything we can do to try and make things more efficient so we don't have to focus on the small things, I guess, and we can move our time and energy into more critical decisions with trade and, whether that be like hourly trading of a promotion or trading of a new season drop. So I definitely think they're the sort of areas you need to lean into. Also, I would say that I think, as I said, Aje have an incredible team that works there. Everyone loves what they do. They're very good at what they do. So I think making sure everybody in the business also feels really empowered to continue making decisions if people get pulled in different directions, because we often do. I think e-com's so cross-functional. You know, we have ties with product and merch, we have ties with logistics, and we have ties with customer service. So we might be working on multiple different little things all the time. Having people in the team feel really empowered to review data themselves, trade data particularly, and make decisions, I think helps you balance both together.
So empowering the team to also make decisions.
Yeah.
So it doesn't always have to come from the top.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're relying on a lot of basically engines behind the brand to make sure that things just keep ticking along. So you've got space for all the cool things we want to do.
100%. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. AI. How's the AI conversation going at an e-commerce brand? Because I'm in an agency, so it's obviously talking about efficiency. It's talking about how it impacts SEO. I'm interested to hear what the e-com brands are talking about internally.
I think we're talking about the same things. We want efficiency too. I think at Aje, we are still in the test and learn phase with a lot of AI. We're experimenting with it. We're not 100% sure where it sort of fits in. Some of our tech partners already use AI in their day-to-day anyway. So it's really easy to implement that because it's sort of tried and tested and we know the platform really well. But, you know, even like with Shopify, bringing out Horizons and Sidekick, like we're experimenting with it. We're seeing how it can make our team more efficient. And one of the things we're using it for is sort of getting a quicker understanding of data. You know, you can say like compare this date to this date. Say it's a promotion, we're in end of season sale time right now. Compare the start of end of season sale here to the start of end of season sale this time last year. And it can really bring all of your key metrics in one place so quickly, which frees up your time. And then you can sort of make sense and validate that data further with like, I guess, the nuances of the business and your own insights to the business. But that's something we're doing where I think we want it more for that. And I guess, yeah, we're experimenting it with across loads of areas. So like customer service, we're also experimenting with it in terms of like product imagery. Might not be right there, but look, you've got to give it a go. I think you've got to trial and test things whilst they're available to you to sort of stay ahead in this digital space. Like it is evolving so quickly. And if all of your competitors start using it and you haven't even tested it or trialed it, you'll get left behind so quickly. So we're just, if it's available to us or we see something cool that we think we can implement, we've been trialing it and we're just sort of working out what's best for the business.
Yeah, I think that's so true that it's, and even having conversations about it constantly, it's everyone's like, I've got stuff going on, but I'm not sure if it's particularly right. But I think we have to do it anyway because it's at least worth trying.
I totally agree. I think there's so many easy use cases like using ChatGPT, email, reporting. But like, can we make something cooler of it? Like there's so much out there and I'm seeing so many things like in the e-com space or on LinkedIn or, you know, people reaching out to us and I'm like, that looks really awesome. Like, let's just give it a go. Yeah. See if it sticks.
Test. Yeah.
Yeah. See if it sticks. If it doesn't, that's okay. Move on to the next thing.
Yeah, and I think you don't need to overcomplicate it. That people will go to the website, whether you're using AI or not, to buy what they want 100%. If they love your brand. AI is just a nice little booster in some ways to some of those journeys for the user. Have you seen the video stuff actually that's come out recently? The AI generated video.
I have seen that. It's
freaky.
So lifelike. Like I've been fooled. I didn't realize some things were AI until I like read the comments on TikTok where people were like, "This is AI," and I was like, "Oh my god."
It can fool people.
Yeah,
but I think people are savvy enough to call that out.
They absolutely
but whether it works on a website for a quick, imagery to convert someone a little bit better, are they going to notice? Maybe no.
Yeah,
worth trying.
Yeah, and look, when I say product imagery, we're obviously taking our own imagery, of course.
Yeah.
But what we've been doing is we've been looking at, can we take stills and bring a bit of movement into the stills? Because sometimes it's hard to have budget for both stills and video. So it's like, so
they can move their body a little bit and then
can we leverage what we've already shot and make it work? But look, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
So
sometimes it gets a little bit funny.
Yeah. Look, we're just experimenting. We're seeing what we can do.
your team. What are your proud moments in that team that you've seen come through the last couple of years and also been on your journey?
I think it's just how much we achieve. Like I think everybody in our team over the last couple of years now, everyone works so hard and they absolutely love what they do. And I think that comes across every day, and that's such a nice environment to be a part of. But also just we're a small but mighty team. We achieve so much. Like last year, getting through some of the projects that we got through, as well as BAU, as well as growing daily trade year on year, like that's such a feat. And I think it's a small team that did that, who worked super cross-functionally across the business. So every element of the business contributed to those sales targets and those wins across projects as well. But it was our team that really sort of worked very closely together to bring that to life. And I think that's a huge achievement. I'm super proud of it.
You ever thought about where the magic comes from? Is it the idea of big goals? Is it the values that you have? Like, what do you think it all seeds into?
I think a bit of both. I think everybody is very connected to the overall goals of the business. Like they know what the goals are. We know what we want to achieve and we know the why behind it, which I think always gets people on the journey. I also just think like at Aje, there's very good relationships between departments as well, and people have very close-knit relationships throughout the business. And I think it's sort of an element of like, well, I want to help you because, you're my friend and my colleague, and I want to see both of everything succeed, if that makes sense. So I think it's a good culture if that's sort of driving everything forward. Yeah.
Do you have a onboarding spiel or anything that you say to them before they jump into the Aje ecosystem and you're like, hey, get ready for this?
I guess just get...
Or they just get to work?
No. I haven't onboarded anyone really recently, but maybe just like, get ready for a bit of a roller coaster. Like you never know what you're going to work on every day. And I think that's what makes it exciting.
Yeah.
But also Aje is not afraid to try something and work on something and, commit to a bigger project if they can see the return on it. So I guess my advice to anyone new starting would be like, just jump on board no matter which way your day takes you. Like it's going to be fun and you're going to get to grow and learn so much.
Yeah. Would you have given that talk to yourself 3 years ago as well?
I never seem to give that talk to myself, I think. But in reflection, look, it's when you like zoom out, you can sort of, you might not say it to yourself in the moment, but I think like looking up and now managing people, I can see all of that was there for me as well. So yeah. And
your approach to managing people, a particular style that you are thinking about, or any method that you have around your leadership?
I think with leadership, I'm still learning a bit because this is my first really big moment of multiple people within my team. And I think the thing with leadership I've learned is that there's not one way that works. It depends on the person you are managing. I think it's really important to change your style of management depending on who you're talking to on the day. And so part of learning and growing within leadership for me has been trying to really understand what that team member needs from me and how can I change my working style to fit that. But I think it's actually quite a hard thing to do because sometimes it's not your natural flex. So I think I'm still learning. I've only been in a management role of 3 people for 4 months or 5 months. So I'm still figuring it out, but I think I have such a wonderful team who also feel really confident to give me feedback back as well and tell me what they need from me. So that's been really a great learning experience, and I think it will come with time as well.
Yeah, great. And then what are the big aspirations for Aje next? You talked about a little on the experimentation, and now you've got the website done. Anything 3 year, 5 years that they're trying to do?
I think Aje has big growth goals within the digital space. I think part of our trade journey, we really want to increase globally, and we want to increase our presence globally and our trade globally. So I think there's a lot of bigger and smaller actions that we're going to take in the next 12 months to try and get us there. As I said, last year, all of the projects I was fortunate enough to work on that really set the foundation for this growth. So it was kind of aligning all of our systems, getting all of our ducks in a row so that we can grow the business internationally as quickly as possible. Obviously, it comes with changes to all facets of the digital journey. So, acquisition and conversion. So we're looking at all different elements on site, outside of the site. How do we bring the right traffic from the right regions and the right customers who want to see our product to the site? And then once they're on site, how are we actually converting them? Every region is a little bit different. And that's sort of where we're at in the journey at the moment, is like, what do people in the US want to see versus somebody maybe in the Middle East, and really trying to tailor that content as well.
And then for you personally, what are you looking to achieve next?
That's a great question. I feel like I've gotten to achieve so much in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I am really about learning and development. So I would just love to continue learning in more of a senior leadership position. I think where I'm at the moment, and in this, acting head of role, I've been fortunate to trial different parts of the business that I didn't have access to before, getting to understand the real strategy, getting to understand strategy, also getting a sort of better grasp on things like forecasting, really leaning into being a sort of senior leader within the business. I think still development there for me at the moment, but really looking forward to growing in that space, really looking forward to doing new digital projects, learning different tech platforms, playing with AI. Like, I think there's loads of cool stuff happening in the digital space, but professionally, I'm, looking forward to, growing my technical knowledge, also my strategic knowledge, my business acumen, and also, my leadership style too.
Right. And then for people who see a great brand, Aje, or any global brand out there, Nike, Adidas, and like, I want to work with them, I want to work in the e-commerce team, what would you say to them? What's some experiences or advice you would give those people coming out of graduate, degrees? Like, are you doing it? You're not? I
think just put yourself forward. Like, the thing about Aje, which is really cool, and I'm sure, I don't know about Nike and I've not worked there, but I imagine.
It's big e-commerce.
Yeah. I imagine like, just try and get your foot in the door, like reach out to people who work there, see if you can go to coffee with anyone, try and get your foot in the door. And once you're in, learn as much as you can and be really willing to try different things within the business. So yes, you might be working in e-com, but try and flex your knowledge in things like, merchandising or logistics. Like, can you pick up little bits and pieces there that are actually just going to elevate you in an e-com career? Because all of it is so, as I said, cross-functional, that those little bits of knowledge are just going to elevate you so quickly. That's what I would say.
What's your strategy for getting through a very busy, project-driven, experimental week? Yeah,
we set priorities pretty clearly on Monday morning for the team, and then we do check-ins throughout the week, and I set my own priorities. I tend to not stick to them because I get pulled in like 5 directions. But that's okay. Like, at least I know what the key tasks I need to get done, and they always get done. So even if I think I'm going to do it on a Monday, it might happen on a Friday, but it will get done for the week. So I think we have to be really smart about prioritizing, because we get pulled in quite a lot of directions. And we have, with 3 brands on the site, we have so many launches and little promotions and bits and pieces going on, and looking at how we trade that, it's different per brand. So we have to be really organized as a team.
Are you in preparation stages for this back half of the year, Black Friday, Christmas sales?
Not quite yet.
Not quite yet?
Should I be? I probably should be.
Any big ideas that are coming out for this year? Because it seems like in Australia specifically, it's gotten bigger and bigger. It's getting earlier and earlier.
It is getting earlier and earlier. Yeah.
What's the plan? Any ideas?
Not sure quite yet. Don't want to give away any secrets either.
No, of course not.
As long as I think there's loads of stuff you can do to prepare, we always work on our organic strategy start to look at our organic strategy about this time of the year before Black Friday, so that's in really good shape, and we've built the traffic and we've got the domain authority to those pages. So that's something that'll be on the list for the upcoming month. And then just getting the site into the best position to ensure that trade goes really, really smoothly. Are there any quick win optimizations, or not even quick win, but like, are there any key optimizations that we can see between now and then to get the site in great condition? So there are a couple of little optimizations we're working on at the moment that I do think are going to improve customer journey on site. So things like, making our zoom better. It seems like a small thing, but with so many people shopping on mobile, making that perfect so they can see the image and they can see all angles of it. It's very, very clear on your phone as well. I think that's going to help with conversion. So like little things like that we're trying to get in place now, and they'll all add up to a bigger result by Black Friday.
The fundamentals means you can focus on those 1%ers a lot more stringently. And that feels good because it's like, I can finally do something that's very small but has a huge impact instead of worrying about the navigation.
Well, that's the thing. I think because we did all of that work last year and we still finally tweak it. We fine tune it all the time because we're looking at the data all the time. So we are making changes, but we are at the point now where it's like, what's a pain? Yeah, it's what's a pain point? And like, it'll be the littlest thing like mobile zoom, but actually it's going to have a huge impact because people can see the product better and they can see what they want to purchase. So like, it's not like our zoom doesn't work, but we're making it better.
Here at Beyond the Fold, we're about what matters most. So what's one thing that you'd like people to remember from this conversation?
I think what I want people to know is that we're in a really exciting time in e-com. There's so much changing and there's so much new tech available to us. But at the end of the day, success is really driven by understanding your customer, understanding the brand, and understanding the market the best that you can, and really leaning into as much data that's available to you and continually iterating with it and changing the way you trade on site and what you offer your customers.
Brilliant. And where can the people find you if they want to reach out, advice or opportunities? Where can they find you?
They can find me on LinkedIn. That's probably it. Or you can email me.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for jumping on today. It's been a pleasure learning about this. For myself, I work in an agency. I don't see what happens on the other side, so it's really cool to hear all the exciting stuff that's happening in your world.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I've been, really happy to be here.
Thank you.